it goes back to what I said about being a financial advisor, or any profession. Only a very small percentage of any profession is really good at what they do. And most people aren't as good at their career as you think they are. You know, I started late 80s, all the way through 80s, all the way through 2000, the market was up nearly every single year. And it was up a lot. Okay? All through the 90s. You can't, if you look at the ICA guide and you look at the 90s, you can't, it's hard to find a year where the market was down. So it was like that, and so for years and years and years, you can make your clients a good return and not know anything. After 2000, though, that's when things changed. At 1988, 2000, that's 13 years. I've been in business 13 years, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I just showed up. Mm-hmm. You put a client in an equity fund, you're going to make so much money, and all this other stuff. Like I said, I used AIM funds at the time, which is now owned by Invesco. But they had a fund called the AIM Value Fund, been around since the 80s. That AIM Value Fund had never had a down year. Wow. So I was just loading people up in that fund for years. So then everything changed after 2001 when the dot-com bubble happened.
Yeah.
And so then I realized I didn't know what I was doing, and I needed to learn my craft. Mm-hmm. So that's when I started, reading a lot more investment data. One of the things I started reading first, Investment Business Daily, Investor Business Daily. They were great. I never liked Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal's always been terrible. Wall Street Journal, if you ever read a Wall Street Journal article, they'll say one thing on the front part of the article, and as you go through it, they'll say the opposite as you go through the backside of that article.
They're right every time.
Yeah, they're right every time because they cover both sides. They never have a true opinion about anything.
Yeah.
But so I started reading more. I realized I needed to understand how everything interacted with everything else, so that I could then tell my clients what was the right way to go. But to be a good professional at anything, you have to learn how to do more than the average person is willing to learn. It wasn't for that epiphany coming to me back all those years, 2001, how many years is that? 25 years ago, mm-hmm. I wouldn't be where I am now.
Wow. So you don't necessarily mean like modern portfolio theory or anything like that. You're talking about the overall dynamics of the market, or
understanding how when certain things happen, and watching trends and watching how things happen. That's one of the other things. Right now, I see the market for 2026 is going to scream. We're going to have one of the best stock markets we've had in a long time. The best economies we've had in a long time. Okay. And one of the reasons we're going to have that is the big beautiful bill. People are going to get huge tax refunds this year, way larger than they're used to. Well, the average person, if they normally get a $2,000 tax refund, and this year they get a $4,000 tax refund, what are they going to do with that money?
Blow it.
Right. What are they going to blow it on?
Cars and vacations and clothes and
home fix up the house, everything that keeps the economy going. They're going to be blowing through it. Cruise lines are going to be having hotel rooms, rental car places, airlines, restaurants. All these things are going to kill it, right? So that's why even though this year, for the last 2 to 3 years, the stock market has only focused on the top 7 stocks. Magnificent 7. Okay? Now, Magnificent 7 is still going to make money this year, but I think that really the whole overall market is going to open up. So we're not going to have growth from those 7 stocks. We're going to have growth from across the whole economy. Remember, when the Fed lowers rates, they only control the short-term rates. That's why the first thing to drop is the interest that you earn at the bank.
Yeah.
We're going to get at least another 1% reduction in rates this year.
the mortgage rate went to 6% for the first time.
Yeah, and it's going to go below that.
Wow, 30-year mortgage.
So you're going to see the real estate market pick up. And that's another thing. When the real estate market picks up, everything does well. So there's the good news. So this year, 2026, is going to be good. Everyone's going to be happy, making money. Here's what I see as a possible thing coming down the road. I believe is very similar to what happened with the dot-com bubble. AI is going to be very similar. Y'all remember when the dot-com thing happened, the stock market was killing it. Everything was doing great, until it wasn't. And one of the things you can see happening, and one of the things I see that's going to happen, these data centers that they're building right now cost huge amounts of money. And these banks, J.P. Morgan, for example, has loaned out billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars to build these data centers. But what's already starting to happen is people are figuring out that they don't have to build these data centers quite as big as they thought they did. They're going to get smarter on how to keep everything cooler, so it won't need as much water or energy or anything else. So the natural progression of this AI story is for them to get more efficient at it. So if you had a data center that covered, I'll just make a number, 20 acres, but you can do the same thing with 5 acres, right? And use half the energy that you used to do with the 20-acre one. What are you going to do? So, and all the companies that borrowed money from the banks to build the 20-acre ones, what's going to happen to those loans? Those companies are going to go out of business. The banks are going to be holding that money, those loans, and those loans are going to hurt the banks. I see that happening in 27, 28 period of time frame. So I think we could have an outstanding period of time between all this year, but I do see a possible very similar situation to happen to the dot-com issue, where, because whenever there's a gold rush, right? That's what this basically is. Well, like during the gold rush, okay? During the gold rush, there were very few people that made money during the gold rush, but lots of people went out looking for gold.
Yeah. Very few made money on gold, but but the real people that made money was when it sold shovels and picks.
That's right.
Mules.
That's right. So the issue is going to be that I believe that they're going to get more efficient with it, and a bunch of companies are going to go in this AI thing, get going. 2 or 3 are going to really stick up and actually turn into something. And it may not be the 2 or 3 that you think they're going to be. It might be some name that you've never heard of that figures it out. Then it will be the Tesla, right? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you as an advisor? I've already started telling them this year it's going to be hard not to make money. You have to try to not make money. But 2007, 2008 time frame, some of the stuff's going to come home to roost. We're going to make as much money as we possibly can this year, but know that in a year or 2 that we might have to change. It might be completely different. Now, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but what I'd rather do is prepare my clients for a possibility that they hadn't thought of yet, so that they can be prepared.
Well, let me play devil's advocate in just a minute.
Okay. Sure. I want somebody to be.
Probably November, the market went through a panic, because they believed the AI bubble was about to pop at the end of last year.
Yeah, no, that was probably. Yeah, that was the news.
And
and that's another thing. What the news puts out on the news is not really what's happening. That's why
that is exactly correct.
So that I do not watch the news.
No.
I don't.
You got to remember that the news shows are not news; they're shows.
That's it.
Yeah. So they were saying that the AI bubble popping up. No one in the investment community believed that, because we're so early on the spectrum that, and now were some of these stocks trading at a higher multiple? For example, Nvidia or somebody's going to trade at a slightly higher multiple than they should have? Yes. And the first reaction, so let's talk about multiple, let's talk about stock price. Same thing with our U.S. economy. They both have similar things. Okay, so if you have a stock, like let's use NVIDIA, and I can't remember the numbers, but let's say NVIDIA is trading, most stocks in the stock market are considered to be viable. The price is not out of whack when you're at 18 to 22 times forward earnings. Okay,
This is PE.
PE ratio, forward PE. Okay, so if
Forward PE, I've heard.
yeah, how coming going forward, how the earnings going forward, what they suspect they're going to be, okay, against the price. That's how they know what the stock price should be. So it normally, historically in the United States, is 18 to 22 times, somewhere in that ballpark. Well, if you got a stock like NVIDIA or whatever trading at 35 times or 50 times forward earnings, then the first reaction is, well, this stock's overvalued. We need to unload it. Okay, so how do you solve that problem? How you solve it is if your forward PE picks up and you're going to grow at twice the rate that anyone thought you were going to grow at. Now all of a sudden your stock's not at whack of price anymore. Same thing with the U.S. economy. What's happening with same thing with the U.S. economy? If the U.S. economy, we have this huge amount of debt and we have high interest rates, okay, then our percentage of debt to GDP in the United States is out of whack, right? We have more debt. So how do you fix it? What most people think is that we go into a recession. Okay, we contract, but that's not what's going to happen. What you can see happening, what Trump is working so hard towards, and he sees it, you can solve this problem one of two ways. The way he's going to go about it is I'm going to have, instead of having a 1.8% annual growth, GDP growth in the United States, we're going to shoot for 4 to 5% annual GDP growth, which is twice the rate of what it's designed for. And then we're going to lower interest rates. That's why he's all over Powell's butt about lowering interest rates.
Yeah, Powell.
Okay, because he understands if we lower rates and we increase the volume, that opens up the door of real estate, and we also increase our overall GDP growth in the United States, then that helps alleviate the debt to GDP problem through growth. Growth is the way that you fix the stock price, and growth is the way you fix the debt to debt ratio in the United States.
Yeah, but isn't that the common denominator over all business? The growth.
No, but not all companies are focused on it, and that's one of the things. One of the things that Trump is putting pressure on these big companies about stock buybacks.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of times, Primerica is guilty of that. Okay. What Primerica does, the Primerica stock trades at it's $260 a share, $280 a share. Why is it that Primerica stock trades at the price it does? There's a bunch of reasons. One, we have very little debt. Primerica has very little debt. They're the masters of keeping costs low.
Mm-hmm.
Our home office, everything, their overhead is low. They've always been good at that. So whenever you have low overhead and you got no debt to finance, okay, your profits are sweet. Primerica is a cash cow.
Wow.
Okay, because just think the staff. How many salaried staff do they have? Not many. People at the home office, right? Everyone else is out in the field, and we're all commissioned. What's their overhead?
Wow.
Percentage of whatever they make, right? So Primerica so that makes them profitable. Well, what has really driven their price? Well, Primerica has made so much money. What they started doing is buying back their own shares. Okay, a lot of companies, that's what they do. They buy their own shares. Okay, and what that do, if you have, let's use an example. Let's say you have 20 million shares out there, and you start buying back your own shares. But now there's only 15 million shares trading because you own 5 million.
Right.
What does that do to the other 15 million? Makes the price go up because there's not near as many trading anymore. So that's what a lot of companies will do. They buy back their own stock, make the price go up, makes the valuation of the company go up, right? And you don't have to do anything to make your price go up. So that's one of the things that Trump has put pressure on some of these other companies about, is they don't want stock buybacks are good, but they should not be the driving force of the company, to driving the value of the company. You should be driving the value of the company through growth, through sales, through whatever it takes to be successful, right? Well, a lot of companies don't do it that way. They make money from buying back their own stock.
That'll only work for a certain amount of time. Yeah.
Well, it can work for a long time. And the executives at the companies all make lots of money because their stock, they all own the stock. Like me, I got Primerica stock original shares at $15 a share. Now, what's the share price of Primerica now? PRI? It's at least $260. It has been as high as $300. Yeah, $267.56. So, and it hovers between $260 and $280, $290, somewhere in there.
Yeah, 298.75.
Yeah.
In the year range.
Yeah, so it'll get close to 300. That's how the U.S. economy does things, and that's how a lot of these stocks can get out of being overpriced. Is if they have enough growth, they can then make their price be worth the PE ratio be right.
Going all the way back to the big crash in 2008, and they started doing quantitative easing. They just started printing money and just flooding the market with all this printed money.
Well, we've been doing that since then.
Same thing during COVID, even more. Like, I think I've heard numbers like $6 or $8 trillion they pumped into the economy during COVID. And so that devalues the dollar.
It does.
How do you get the value back in the dollar?
Well,
once it's gone, it's gone.
Well, number one, one of the things that did start happening a year or two ago is they did stop the volume in which they're printing money. So once you print all that money out, if you reduce the amount of money being printed, then eventually that money gets back in whack. The way to get out of it, though, is now you got all these dollars out here. It goes back to what I said a minute ago. You got all these dollars out here, and the dollar's undervalued because there's way too many dollars chasing fewer goods. That's called a recession. Okay? Now, if you have growth in our economy, now you have more goods facing the same amount of dollars. So now your dollar gets stronger because you got growth in the economy. The dollar's worth more because you got more goods being out there to be chased by the same amount of dollars that you did have. So that's what makes the dollar come back into whack. That's why Trump is killing himself to really make our growth, U.S. economy growth, and building factories and things like that. That's what he wants, because if we're building stuff, number one, the unemployment rate's really low, right? And number two, we're building stuff, and that you got plants being built and welders and all these things going on. It causes the dollar to get stronger. Learning, taking the time to watch and learn and read from different people about different things. And that's one of the things I've learned is I don't listen to any one person or read from any one person. And what happens is I've learned that if I listen to a bunch of different people enough, I'll get a understanding of really what's happening out of the group. Right? So you have some people say this is going to happen. Some people say this is going to happen. But if you listen to them enough, you can figure out, oh, this is probably what's really going to happen right here. Mm-hmm. But what you learn is you got certain people that are better at having opinions than others.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Leary, he's one of my favorite people to listen to.
Yeah.
Because he understands it. And I like it that he's Canadian, so he's on the outside looking in on the United States economy. And he can see what's really happening. And so I listen to different people. Jeremy Siegel, Wharton School of Economics, different people I listen to that seem to be right more often than others. And so it helps you get an idea of what's happening. The whole idea about about what made me come to the conclusion about this AI thing is already the banks have loaned out, I can't remember how much money, the big banks like J.P. Morgan have loaned out to build these data centers. And that's all of that, right? when you loan out hundreds of billions of dollars, it's a bet, right? You're betting that you're going to make your money back. Whenever you go into a bet that's new, then you're going to be wrong part of the time. And so eventually it's going to come home to roost. That's just how new things happen. Just think what the internet was like in 2003 and 2002 and 2003 and what it is today. So you have to go through that to get where we are. Same thing, AI, we're on the very beginning parts of it. You know, when I was in college, I was around people talking about artificial intelligence now. And then there'll be something else after AI. One of the things I think and one thing that Musk is pushing for, that I think is a good thing, that not everybody thinks is a good thing, is eventually everybody's going to have their own robot work with them. You're going to have your personal robot.
Wow.
And they're going to
Have a marriage, get rid of your wife.
No, they're about $30,000 a piece.
That's $50,000 for the
Okay, but here's what I think is good about it. Just think of how many senior citizens need help going up and down stairs, or doing this or that. That robot will help you be able to walk up the stairs. I believe the senior market is where the personal robot is going to do great. You know, my boys, one's a software engineer, one's a software developer. And during the Christmas holidays, I was talking to him about all this AI stuff. And there's a terminology about artificial intelligence. I can't remember what it was. Basically, that AI is not always right. Well, it goes back to what we learned a long time ago. GIGO. Good in, good out. Garbage in, garbage out. Right? So just know that some of the stuff you're going to get back from AI is not always going to be right. That's kind of how I see what's happening and what's going to happen this year. And kind of what I see that what Trump is trying to accomplish to help us get in a better position financially. So it should be pretty good. Should be a pretty good year. Right now, silver is around $77 an ounce. That means an old Morgan. I had some clients come in here the other day, and I've been collecting coins since I was in 6th grade. I remember when I was in 1979, when I had my first job at Western Auto in Springtown, Texas. My boss, with the Hunt brothers in Texas, decided they were going to corner the silver market. I don't know if y'all remember that. And I saw silver go from $3 an ounce to $52 an ounce in 1979. That's the highest it had ever been. From then on, from 1979 to 1980, whatever it was, it went from $53 an ounce all the way back down to about $5 an ounce. And it hung out at $5 an ounce for over 40 years. It would go to $6 or $7, but it never went much higher than that. So now, that's starting to change. And demand for silver is getting, I believe part of the demand for silver, copper, and all this is there's a couple of reasons why all this is happening. A lot of the other countries in the world are buying up gold and silver for their own, what they want, what they need for their treasuries. So that's what's putting some demand on it too. But I think AI is having to do with it because silver is an industrial metal. Gold it kind of is, but silver really is, and copper for sure is. So copper's at $6 a pound right now, which is high, very high. So the demand for copper, silver, and gold are going to keep going up. Buying the miners is a better way to go than buying the bullion. I remember a couple years ago, I had a bunch of Delta pilots trying to talk me into taking them to coin shops to buy some silver dollars and stuff. When silver got to $35, and when it went up to there, I said, "Man, I don't know if it's going to go much higher than that." And they buy it, and they went right back down from $35 an ounce down to about 15.
Oh, wow.
But now it's over nearly 80, and I think it's going to go to 100.
Oh, you continue to put your clients in precious metal going into this year?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because the stock. The reason I'm still doing, and not a lot, 10% of the money is all the maximum I'm putting their money in precious metal. The reason there's two reasons. One, I think the demand's going to continue to go, but number two, the miners are undervalued. They're only trading about 8 times. Remember I said about 18 to 20 times forward earnings?
Yeah.
The miners are trading about 8 times forward earnings. So they're way underpriced.
You should be making some good money on those silver dollars you got for me.
I know. Well, but see, I would never sell them. But so, okay, let's go back up. So the client I had coming in the other day, they said, we have some old coins my dad had left. And they came walking in they had a 1960s briefcase full of coins they brought in here the other day. And it was old Kennedy half dollars and Benjamin halves and just peace dollars and things like that. Well, those coins aren't worth much as far as the coin value. Their main value is the silver content. A silver dollar, old peace dollar, for example, is 90% silver. There's 0.78 ounces of silver per coin. So if you take 0.78 times 77 or $78 an ounce, that means each coin is worth about $60 a piece.
60?
60.
Wow.
So every silver, and remember, I had clients wanting to buy at 35, and I thought they were paying too much for them. Now they're going for 60. Those Canadian halves, the 1964s, which they made a gazillion of, are only worth.
Okay. But Eric, talking about like the buy price today.
Yeah, the sell price is a different story on us.
I was about to say, because see, people get locked around the axle, and I had a conversation with a couple of people just the other day, because they were about to spend 10 grand on X amount of gold and X amount of silver. And I said, hold the phone, guys. Hold the phone. I said, you know what you're going to buy it at, right? Yeah, I'm ready to buy it. Okay. But what are you going to be able to sell it at? Well, I'll sell it for a profit. Are you sure?
Right. So, yeah, I tell my clients that too. I said, when you go to buy silver, they're marking it up when you buy it. And then if you're a coin shop, for example, and now silver's at $100 an ounce, do you want to be buying back from people at $100 an ounce? No, you're assuming all the risk, right? So you're going to mark it down. So what you're going to actually buy for is maybe $90 an ounce, right? Give yourself some leeway. So, yeah, you're going to buy it at a premium and sell it at a discount. Whereas that's why I like gold funds. You buy, in 10 seconds, you buy the gold fund, and if you decide you don't want anymore, you get rid of it. And you have to worry about it. So that's why I get my clients to do that instead of buying the gold.
Yeah.
So I actually just own a bunch of it because I've been collecting them since I was in 6th grade.
Right.
So, but I tell you, if it does get up to $100 an ounce, I probably will start to sell some of it.
When he passed away, trying to get rid of it, it wasn't, it was a couple thousand, 3,000, I don't know. But it was a pain in the ass to get rid of.
Yeah.
So you're better off. I kept telling him, Dad, go sell it and then take the money and invest it in the gold fund.
Yeah. Well, and then I had another client send me, I was talking to another client yesterday. I collected coins and he has some more coins. Well, he comes from a wealthier family. So he sends me pictures of some of the coins he has. Draped bust dollars. You probably don't even know what those are. Never heard of them. Made in the 1700s. That look really good. So those you don't buy for the silver. Those are worth the value because they're rare. It goes back to what Mike said a minute ago. I bought some coins from Mike's dad or Mike that were Carson City silver dollars. Okay, the uncirculated Carson City silver dollars. They're worth way more than the value of the coin. Now, only to the other guy that collects them. Right? It's like if you're a car collector, you're willing to pay extra money for XYZ because you collect cars, right? And coin collectors, the only person interested in buying that Carson City silver dollar is the guy that understands what it's really worth, right? So, but the problem with coin collecting is there's not as many as there used to be. Now, that might change because I do understand that the newest generation coming up right now did you know they're more conservative? And they tend to be they're going to church more and things like that. So that generation might be the group that ends up being the coin collectors. So, and because remember, everything's cyclical, right? And you're going to have that, and things are going to trade off. So probably at some point there will be a bunch of guys wanting to collect coins, and you can sell them. But right now there's not.
What's going on with the penny? I know they ain't gonna stop making pennies.
It costs 4 cents to make a penny.
Everybody trying to hold pennies.
Yeah, if there's not a better example of how inefficient the government is, there's one of them right there.
Yeah.
Well, but there was an interesting article that I was reading online from one of the business feeds. They were talking about the penny. Unfortunately, a lot of people are hoarding the penny
Yeah.
right now,
Hoarding them,
which is,
I have a 5-gallon bucket full of them.
and I know, but the problem is it's already affected the market.
You're a hoarder, Eric.
I have. You know what happens? Well, the first thing I do when I get home and I take off these clothes is I take the change and put them in this little bottle in my bedroom.
Yep.
Not because I'm collecting them, is I don't want them in my pocket.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm hoarding them because I don't want them in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to get the bottle out of the house when it's time to get it out of the house.
Most
It's
people
probably 200
have
pounds.
those pennies and think they got that one special penny that worth so much.
The 19th, yeah.
And then
The
the
19th
crazy is put them in the machine and get rid of them and go give it to the bank.
Yeah, and most of them don't even know what they're looking for.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Heads.
Yeah.
Buffalo, I will say this. 99% of Buffalo head nickels are worth a nickel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're not worth much. Because they don't have silver in them.
Oh, yeah.
And they made, for the most part, a lot of them. So, and only, again, the only people that want to buy a Buffalo head nickel is a collector. And not everybody's a collector. Whereas you can, a Morgan dollar, silver dollar, in my opinion, one of the prettiest coins ever made, but it's 90% silver. So even if you're not a collector, that thing's worth $60.
Yeah.
So you were talking about ChatGPT a minute ago,
Yeah.
and while you were talking, I asked ChatGPT, what mutual fund will perform best in 2026, and it gives what I consider to be a great answer.
What's the
It just says, I can't tell you which one will do the best. It says nobody can reliably predict future returns, and past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Predictions depend heavily on market conditions, economic shifts, interest rates, and geopolitical events that can change throughout the year. However, I can share expert outlooks and commonly cited funds. And so it goes on and it says by category: broad market index funds, active funds with recent strong returns, and it gives a few examples, sector oriented, India focused if you're into investing in the Indian market, and then it says experts generally agree on diversification, low fees, and past performance not equal future results. And important things to keep in mind: risk horizon, active versus passive, and market forecast vary.
That's all the CW. That's all career and management stuff.
Yeah, it's just boilerplate,
Right.
So,
So that's the bottom line. I think we're gonna have a good year. I think when people have money, first of all, your clients should be happy from what they did last year. I would not be surprised that we have a banner year in investments. Okay, because they made money over the last 2 years, right? They're going to get these large tax refunds. Some of them are retiring, and then so they're going to want to invest money. 2027, when this AI bust does happen, and the market drops 20%, all of a sudden they're not going to be happy anymore. But now's the time to reap. I can't tell you how many phone calls I got after the first year of people wanting to look at their accounts. Have you ever had a lot? And increasing the amount of money they want to put in their accounts. So yeah, you're going to get people wanting to max out the Roths and all that and traditional IRAs.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a good year. If you start talking to people about investing, I think you'll get a lot of volume.
Make sure if you set it up as a joint, you make it a TOD.
Well, but not not TOD until they have anybody to leave it to. If it's just when they first get married and now having kids, then you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But down the road, 15 years from now, they're going to need to have a TOD with rights of survivorship, a joint account with rights of survivorship. I have some clients in Louisiana. Okay, Louisiana is a community property
Yeah,
state.
community property, that's it.
So is California. I think Texas is too.
What are you doing? Okay.
So you can't have a joint tenants with rights of survivorship account.
Just open up an individual account?
You have a joint tenants account, but you can't have a joint tenants with rights of survivorship. In common, joint tenants in common. What did I say? But you can't open a joint tenants with rights of survivorship in Louisiana. It has to be a joint account. Because in community property state, I'm trying to remember the rules. That means everyone already has half the husbands and wives already have access to half the value of the account automatically when you're married.
So there's really, I mean, it's already, it's
already
basically already rights to survivorship, but it's incorporated in the law rather than just the account.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why Louisiana
Should I
is.
just open up an individual account like we used to do before we
Yeah.
opened the TOD with no beneficiary? That's
Yeah. So there's some changes in the economy. Gold's going to continue to do well, and gold and silver. I'm watching it though to see if there's going to be a change. At some point, it is going to touch the top. So don't just put people in there willy nilly. I do believe it's going to continue to go up, but you got to watch it.
What was the energy fund that you used to? IENEX.
Yeah, the issue with, okay, let's go down that road. Oil company stocks went up recently because of the Venezuelan thing. But I don't think that's long term. Because if anything, the price of oil is going to go down, not up. And the oil that comes from Venezuela is way more expensive to refine than the United States. We produce what's called light sweet crude. The oil out of Venezuela is heavy. What do they call it? It's much heavier, darker. It needs way more refining than the light sweet. Now I do understand though, and I've heard, I don't know this, that the crude that comes out of Venezuela is easier to make diesel out of.
That's correct. Yes.
So, and I've always had a problem with why diesel was so expensive. And maybe it's because we've been trying to produce it out of light sweet crude instead of heavy.
It's not. It's because of the formulation they started, I think, in 1994. It's ultra low sulfur. They had
That's it.
Step to get the sulfur out for the environment.
Yeah.
And that's at least part of the reason why diesel engines aren't as dependable as they used to be. It took away lubricity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you run off-road diesel, then you don't have to worry about that. Of course, if you get caught running off-road diesel, then you get in trouble.
It's a huge fine.
It's a huge fine.
I think diesel prices went up because more cars are diesel and more vehicles are diesel to the public than.
Well, I mean, just look at how many trucks are on the road right now.
Mm-hmm.
Look, sit in traffic. I was in traffic the other day. Look at what percentage of the cars sitting in line are diesel rigs.
I remember that fund, this BSCAX and small, they closed it.
Yeah, the small cap.
Still closed.
Is small cap value still closed?
I thought it was VVOAX that
No,
closed.
it's VSCOX.
CAX.
VVOAX is the mid cap bank. It's run by the same portfolio managers as the VSCAX.
It's good.
Both have done well. You know what fund's doing really good? That Comstock.
Yes.
Yep, Comstock killing. I won't put my clients in non-qualified annuities.
So Comstock did 12.24 in 23, 15.03 in 24, and 17.15 last year.
You know, about do about the same this year. It's going because again, remember only the largest percent of growth in the stock market in the last couple of years has been off those 7 stocks.
Yeah.
The market's going to broaden, which includes bank stocks and all these other companies that are in that Comstock
So you're
fund.
expecting a breakout for
I think it'll continue to do even better.
VFAX. What do you think it's going to do this year?
I'm putting a lower percent in VAFAX and a larger percent in Comstock. Yeah, I think the market's going to broaden out. and I think you're going to catch more money on the other with 493 stocks of the 500.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a couple more years of VA effects, like 23 and 24.
It didn't do 30.
It did 40 and 23 and 35 and 24.
Oh, how much in 25?
11.
It only made 11. Oh, because it got whacked in November.
It did get whacked.
He got whacked in November, but up until November, it was higher. It was way higher.
It was nice.
So, but ACIX is doing good. Have y'all seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 60-40 portfolio, the MEMA fund.
Yep.
I've been moving clients at a floating rate and put them back into the MEMA fund.
Yeah, that floating rate is.
Is it still 60-40? I thought it went to 60-30.
It's 60.
Or, I mean, 70-30.
It's 60 equities, 30% cash, 10% or 5% cash, and the rest fixed income.
I thought they rotated that a little bit about a year and a half ago. But
I'm not sure. But so I've been moving all my clients out of floating rate back into the MEMA fund. Remember, we only did the MEMA fund. We did the floating rate because of what was going on with interest rates.
Yeah.
As soon as we were cutting interest rates, it was time to start getting out of floating rate because bonds are starting to do well again. So that's why the MEMA fund is doing better, because bonds are starting to do better.
would you start putting anybody in Asia?
Huh?
Would you start putting anybody in Asia?
Asia's probably going to do well, but I still like the U.S. better.
Yep.
So can you make money in Asia? Yeah.
Yes, it's 3.51%.
What's Asia? What did the Asia fund? What did ASIAX do last year?
24.33,
Okay, that's good.
and it's set 3.51 year to date this year.
Yeah. So it's on track to do well. Well, what is AC? What has Comstock been this year? ACSTX.
2.5, something, 2.2.
So it's not far behind. Yeah, I'm going on a mission trip. We're gonna. They have a big issue with human trafficking, sex trafficking in Thailand. So we have some missionaries in Thailand that work on trying to keep people out of that.
We had a guy come to our Knights meeting a month ago, and he's a part of a women's shelter here in Henry County, and there's 11 women and kids from the age 12 to, 35, 11 of them that were rescued here in Henry County from sex trafficking.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's not just Thailand, it's here too.
Oh yeah. Well, Georgia's one of the worst states in the country for it, because we got I-75 running the whole length of the state, and we got I-20 running the whole other side. So we are a corridor for human trafficking. In Atlanta Airport, one of the busiest airports in the world, a lot of human trafficking here in Georgia. Woodman of the World, and there's another company called Forrester. There's another company called Knights of Columbus, Woodman of the World. Those are all fraternal organizations. And when you probably don't remember this, back when you took your life exam, they talked about fraternal organizations. And one of the things they mentioned in there is fraternal organizations, you don't even have to be licensed to sell life insurance, but be able to sell life insurance through those organizations. You don't have to. So, and you're basically selling these policies back. Woodman of the World was originally put together as an organization that provided life insurance for people that had with foresting and things like that.
Just so you know, the Knights of Columbus do need to be licensed. They do need to be life licensed.
Well, and it may be that even for a life, even that Women of the World does too. But back in the day, they did not. Yeah, they sell whole life insurance, and they sell fixed annuities. And I've replaced those. One of the biggest challenges I used to have with Women of the World is Women of the World, one of the benefits they give to all the policyholders is during the summer months, they let your kids go to a summer camp for free. And that was one of the things I always had to put up with. Well, my kid's going to be able to go to camp if I get rid of this life insurance policy. I said, if you get rid of this life insurance policy, number one, you have 4 times life insurance, and you pay half the money. You can send your kids to any camp you want. So it was always very expensive, but they were very you had to work. It was hard to get people to get rid of them, but I don't think it's probably that much anymore.
Now, Knights of Columbus, you have to be a knight, so it's a captive audience.
Okay.
You couldn't go and get Knights of Columbus insurance because you're not a knight.
Okay. So there was another one. Lutheran Brotherhood was another one that sells life insurance I've come across.
How do you become a knight?
Yep, be Catholic, then somebody sponsors you to join the Knights, and you go through and do our
Knights of Columbus came off of the Mason. You can't be a Mason if you're a Catholic, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't. So the Masons originally started, but you could be Catholic and be a Mason. So that's how Knights of Columbus started.
Yeah, we raise money for charity, and we do charitable events, and that's what it's all about. The Knights of Columbus premise was that families were uninsured and people died, so the Catholic men got together, formed a group, and life insurance. So if a knight died, they would take care of the family the spouse and the children. So that's where all the fraternal help came from for getting knights life insurance and all that kind of stuff. So there's 4 degrees to the knights. I'm a 4th degree. Or like Masonic, you got like 50 degrees and stuff.
32.
32.
And how I nearly became a Mason. My uncle was a Mason. He was big into it. He was a 32nd degree Mason. His wife was an Eastern Star, and his kids were
Demolay.
Yeah, something like that. And when I lived with him when I was in my senior year in college, I lived with him for a little while because he lived in Louisville, Texas, which isn't too far from Denton. And so he was going to sponsor me to become a Mason, and I really thought seriously about it. I nearly did it. And one of the things the point he made out to me about becoming a Mason was that it helps you in business because Masons want to do business with other Masons. And so that was attractive to me. And most all big businesses and every president other than JFK has been a Mason.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So all Masons get to go to certain places, but the problem I had with it is I didn't like that it was secretive. Once you say, "Yeah, I want to be a Mason," then they speak all the information to you to become a Mason, but you don't know what you're getting into until you're actually in it.
Mm.
And so that was the problem I had with it, is I didn't want to get into something that I didn't agree with.
Sounds like Nancy Pelosi with the Affordable Care Act. We're going
There
to
you go.
vote for it so we can see what's in it.
Yeah, you can't, don't read it. We'll just vote on it. So I didn't like that, so I didn't become a Mason.
My biggest thing I'm talking to clients about, everybody wants a $50,000 life insurance policy.
Why?
They're 70-something years old. And I'm having to show them, okay, why do you think you need it? And you're already your own life insurance company. You
Right.
don't need to pay somebody for life insurance.
Right, yeah.
That's literally what I've been talking to most of my clients about.
Because they're watching those stupid ethos commercials and these.
That's exactly it. Exactly it.
If you have money, you don't need life insurance. Yeah, I've had that conversation.
I had an insurance marketer contact me recently, and I went ahead and talked with him. And she's like, she's reading off the script,
Right.
He says something about, something about wealthy people, being the primary buyers of insurance. And I said, no, I don't think that's right. I said, I don't think wealthy people need insurance. They have money. She's like, I never thought of that.
Is that what you said?
Should have been her.
Yeah. Wealthy people do buy life insurance, but for a different reason. They try to do what's called wash sales.
There's that commercial that's played a lot on Fox TV about you invest and they take the money and you get paid interest.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
he's a paid spokesman. If you read the fine print on the ad, you can get your money out, but sometimes it may be difficult to get your money out, and it takes time to get your money out. So, and he's a paid spokesman, gets paid $25,000 a month
Yeah.
doing that. But that looks like just one of those multi-marketing kind of things. You put your money into a big fund, they pay you 5%, but it makes 12%. You know.
Yeah, IUS.
Index universal life.
Become your own bank.
Oh my goodness. That's the line they let you be your own bank. Oh my goodness. Nothing ever changes. This stuff's been going on. When I first got into Primerica in 1991, everyone was buying variable universal life. And it's basically the same thing. Prudential was selling it like crazy. Equitable was selling it like crazy. MetLife was selling it like crazy. And they started selling it as investments. Then they had class action lawsuits against them. They all went out of business. All got bankrupt. And then 20 years later, IUL gets invented.
Wow.
Same stuff.
Prudential out of business, isn't it?
Huh?
Still around? Prudential?
Prudential's still in business.
Piece of the rock.
They're known as a piece of the rock,
Yeah,
right? They
Piece
used
of
to
the rock, yeah.
They used to be the halftime report. The NFL halftime report
Yeah,
was
that's right.
from Prudential.
Prudential. That's right. There's a Prudential report. That's
Yeah,
right.
Prudential halftime report.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all watched it.
Yeah.
Now they're gone
Those Trump accounts are going to be awesome if you can get them.
because of the Dell failing.
Yeah.
You heard what's going on? See, if you're 10 years or younger and you put $1,000 in a Trump account, Michael Dell and his wife are billionaires. They're putting $600 on top of it. They're donating how many billions of dollars?
I can't remember, but it was a bunch.
$25 billion, something like that. But it'd be a total of 25 million accounts that they're going to be putting money in. So yeah, if you have a grandchild that's 10 years old or younger, you need to get a Trump account.
Well, I didn't know you had to start one first, and then they'll put.
I'm not totally certain of that, but I do know you're going to get the $600. But to open a Trump account, I thought you had to put $1,000 in it.
See, and I thought it was automatic for anybody being born.
I thought it was too.
And it might be. But I do know the maximum you can put in a Trump account is, as I know it, is $1,000.
But what's so cool about it is the rules. It becomes all right. So in order to put money in an IRA, you have to have earned income.
Right.
And this thing basically operates as an IRA with no earned income requirement. So a 2-year-old can get this account and hold it for 63 years.
Right.
How incredible! I mean, how much money is that going to make?
Yeah, that's the same with a 529 college. That if they don't use it for college, let's say they pass that where they roll it into a Roth IRA.
Right, but that rule was inefficient, and I can't remember why. But the Roth I'm glad they're doing the Trump accounts, and I'm glad Michael Dell is donating as much money as he is.
Those darn billionaires,
I know,
you know,
they just give money whether the government wants them to or not.
I know. Will is happy about that.
To start a Trump account, eligible parents, guardians elect to open one for a child under 18 with a Social Security number by filing IRS Form 4547 with their 2025 taxes.
Oh, isn't that funny? You know why it's IRS Form 4547?
Don't be a new president.
Trump.
Number 45 and number 47.
Funny.
Using the online portal at trumpaccounts.gov starting July 5th, 2026 for a potential $1,000 federal contribution for children born 2025 to 2028 with options for further contributions from family, employers, and others.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's the next start.
So they have to have been born last in 2025.
When did they have to get born?
This year.
It says under 18 with SSN.
Social Security number, yeah. But to get the money from Michael Dell, I think you have to be 10 or younger. The Michael Dell Trump contribution
How do I get the Michael Dell Trump account deposit? To get the Michael Dell contribution, 4547, it's the exact same. The Dell donation adds a $250 deposit for eligible children in zip codes with median incomes below $150,000, while the government provides $1,000 for newborns with sign-up processes opening in 2026.
So 250 is all I got? I thought it was 600. Yeah, what age group do you have? What age?
Well, and that one says, this one's a little bit, it says for newborns.
Everyone born this year?
For children born 25 to 28 or eligible older children under 10 living in lower income
Yeah,
zip codes.
lower, under 10. And they get $250.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was going to be $600.
And the government does $1,000. So it's $1,250.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. They're donating only $250 per child. Man.
Sure.
Multiply 250 times 25 million and see
I know. It's a chunk of change.
see what that number comes up to. Oh, 625 million. That's what it is. $500 million. How'd you like to have a $500 million?
I'd like to have just another million.
You know, I don't understand this millionaire billionaire hatred
It's envy.
I
You don't like people that when you're envious or jealous and you don't think you'll ever have something, then you don't like them.
Okay, devil's advocate here. Now you're saying envy, but doesn't everybody have the same opportunity?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
But they know in their heart of hearts they don't have the work ethic or what it takes to do it. So if they in their heart of hearts don't believe they can do it, but they'd like to have it, then they don't. Then they're
jealous.
They're jealous because you did it. It's just the whole thing about that book I like, the Dream Giver is all about that.
Right.
If you try to excel among the average people, they're going to try to pull you back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't listen to that, then they don't like you.
Yeah.
You're not like them. And it's funny. I went to Texas to see my niece get married. Nephew get married. And while I was there, my mom made a comment. Now she is a Trump fan, but she made a comment. She said, I had OnStar in my car and all this other stuff. I made a comment. I said, someday when I make enough money, I'll get that. And she looked at me like, what? Meaning, I try not to spend money on stuff that I think is a waste of money.
Yep.
But my family seems to think I'm wealthy. Yeah. There's a song that I've listened to recently called "All the Great Things in Life Are Free," and it's true. All the great things in life are free. Stuff we buy is not free, and it's not as good as the stuff we get for free.
What's that? So do you have to subscribe to that Inventors Business Daily, or is it?
No, I used to get it. I think you can go online to get it. You can download it. There's another guy on YouTube called Clear Taps. You ever watch him?
Oh yeah. It's kind of Asian guy.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
He does good stuff.
I've seen some of his videos.
Yeah, his stuff is good. He's big into cryptocurrency.
Yep. The reason I started watching him most of all, I got a lot of good information about crypto, but evidently somebody tried to push a political discussion, and he just said, listen, finances and taxes has nothing to do with politics.
Right.
Just keep it simple.
Say that.
That's the reason. And he's real good. I mean, he's an excellent person to listen to.
Right.
He doesn't get in the gray margins very often. So if you're trying to get creative, you're going to have to talk to somebody else. But good, solid, great information. Always.
Yeah. So you just go to the ones that got good information. But every morning when I get up, I watch, I drink my first cup of coffee, I'm watching CNBC, and every time a commercial comes on, I flip over to Fox Business. And then when I get in my car, and I leave my house after my workout, I'm listening to CNBC, Fox Business, and Bloomberg. Now, I will tell you, Bloomberg surveillance is the program that's in the early mornings, Bloomberg. After that, the rest of the day, it's all political. Far left political opinions. So I don't listen to Bloomberg the rest of the day.
So those are TV channels, though, right?
Yeah, but you can listen on. I have satellite radio.
Oh, okay.
It is worth spending the money for satellite radio. I have it. I've had it for years. It's a tax deduction to me. So I listen to CNBC, Fox Business, and Bloomberg, and it's good because Bloomberg is the far left part. CNBC has both, and then Fox Business is right. But I tend to like CNBC the best as far as getting, because they will talk to CEOs, they talk to the real key people in any industry. And Fox Business does that too. And so you get good first-hand information from different CEOs and stuff. So then if you understand the stuff and you have clients ask you about this or that, then you can answer it, you know. They think you're smart. There's a homeowners association for Sun City up in Hilton Head. And they have, I think, $3.5 million cash sitting there. Cash sitting in there. And they're operating.
So much money.
Well, the guy, one of the president of that, the guy that runs the whole Sun City operation is one of my clients. And he's really good. Prior to him, they weren't maintaining that property very well. And they would pay whatever anybody asked. He negotiates everything. And so for example, he said, we need a new roof on some buildings, and they quoted me this. I negotiated that into this. And because of that, we got this much more money sitting in our accounts than we would otherwise. So now they're starting to refund some of this money back to the homeowners. So, and right now it's all sitting in CDs. And so they'd like to have, I told them, I say, let's take about half of it and invest it. So we'll take about $1.5 million to $2 million and invest it and leave the rest of the CDs.
Wow.
I tried to tell them at the very beginning, I always tell them, I said, the reason we do a 5% withdrawal rate is we are going to have a year where the market's going to be down a bunch. And so because we're only taking 5% out now, that means we get to keep taking the same amount of money out no matter what happens to the economy in those periods as well. So that's why we're doing it that way. Your income will never go down. If we take more than that, then we're going to have issues down the road. And here, that's another thing. People seem to think that you can't lose money in treasuries.
Yeah.
I've had that conversation with banks. The whole reason all these regional banks went out of business last year is because they bought treasuries at the wrong time. You can lose just as much money in a treasury as you can anything else. So just know that everything has risk, including CDs.
Sure.
Okay? So there's nothing. And I help my clients, I help them understand there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere you can put your money that you can't avoid. Either you're going to lose money. If you're going to make money, you're going to have to take some kind of risk. Just the way it is. And my job is to get you through it as best you can. If you're going to lay awake at night, well, what I would have done with a client like that is I would put him in a variable annuity. But so if he goes on after that and is worrying late at night and all this, at that point is when I tell the client, I said, here's the deal. You're worried about it. I know for certain that no matter what happens, you're going to make 5% a year in this annuity, 6% a year. And you're going to be able to take this much money out. No matter how, your account's going to go by at least 6% every year. I said, we can do that for you. But just know that there's, you got fees and stuff attached to it, but that's what you need to do. So that's the way I would have gone with annuity.
Yeah.